Noah. Everyone who reads It Must Converse is the channel. Nice to see you guys. I hope everything's sounding all right. Y'all just let me know. I just like to make sure the sound's good just right off the rip, right? So that everybody can hear what's going on and everything's on the up and up. Hey, Teeny Tiny, happy Friday. Nice to see you. And hopefully we have a little bit of a better visual quality than last week. Last Friday was a debacle. I don't know why I was getting such bad stream quality, using the same thing that I always do, the same setup and all that. And my internet is unbelievably fast, right? I have like a fiber optic internet here. It's just like unbelievable, the speeds that I can get for downloading and uploading. And whatever, you know. got it fixed now, right? Missed last week. Well, you didn't miss much, Teeny Tiny. Nice to see you. So I guess it is sounding all right. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, the visual was really choppy. Some wild happenings on the book front. We've been out running around and acquiring new stuff. Too engrossed in Dahlgren reread at the moment. I might disappear back into it. Cool. Yeah. Samuel R. Delaney. I've never read it, but been turned on to it a couple of times. Same with a couple of Delaney's that, essential sci-fi reads. Hello, Michael. Michael Everts, Fit to be Read, is in the house. Nice to see you, buddy. If y'all don't follow his channel, I'm sure you do if you follow mine. He's a real heavy hitter with as far as sci-fi is concerned. A great reader. And I hope you do get to Perdido Street Station. I hope you get to Perdido Street Station soon. Yeah. Way better vid quality than last week. Cool. Thank you, The Falcon Reads. That's Tyler, my boy. Happy Friday. Tyler and I was hitting about the infamous L. Ron Hubbard this week. I think Tyler's going to read Dianetics. An early Scientology, early thought in Scientology. Yeah, man. Happy Friday, Nick. Nice to see you, Nick Voro. Awesome to have you around as well. I've been reading a lot and reading some amazing stuff. Got some crazy stuff to get to. I'll start off with Alan Moore's Illuminations. I was reading this, been getting through it. It's a great copy that I got, the hardcover there. And I do love Alan Moore. I just don't. Do you hear the fireworks? I don't know if that is. If you guys can hear that or not. But somebody is setting off fireworks out there. I guess it's Easter fireworks. Good Friday fireworks, right? So, been reading Alan Moore's Illuminations just to finish up the short stories, and I'm very underwhelmed, to tell you the truth. And I'm underwhelmed by short stories for the most part. I did a little live on Instagram earlier. If you guys saw it, cool. If you didn't, whatever. I drop little Easter eggs over there on Instagram just for the channel here. But I end up comparing short stories that I read to Flannery O'Connor, Edgar Allan Poe, and most recently Borges, right? Just complete masters of the short form. And it doesn't really serve to compare all these writers to just, to the masters of the short form, because they don't hold up. And I'm always, kind of feeling like there should be more substance to a story when short stories are able to, kind of stand on their own like that. So I'll talk about Illuminations a little bit here. If there is something that is interesting, one of the stories is interesting to you, then I'll go more into it in a video. If not, then I'm just going to do maybe a wrap up where I just kind of talk about the short story collection as a whole. There is more than enough to talk about. This short story collection spans Alan Moore's career. he's not very well known for writing prose fiction, right? It's mostly graphic novels. Hey, Nathan. Happy Friday, brother. For sure. Nathan is Novels and Crumbs. Nice to see you in the house, bro. Finishing touches on your book. Way to go, Tyler. Can't wait to get my hands on it then, man. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Do it, Tyler. I'll read it, man. I'll read whatever it is. The first story, Hypothetical Lizard, I did a standalone video on already. And I was already familiar with that short story, the first short story in here, because I have it in graphic novel form. It was commissioned as a graphic novel after it was published as a short story, right? And I had got my hands on that a year ago or so and read it. And the Hypothetical Lizard is the strongest and coolest and most well done short story of the bunch that I've read so far. Now, I will say that I have not read the novella that is in here. There's a novella called What We Can Know About Thunderman. And so I have not read that yet. But after I read that, then I'll have the whole collection down. So we'll see, right? Cortázar is where I need to go. I hear Cortázar is extremely strong with a short story, and you won't be disappointed, right? So I have Blow Up and Other Stories on the shelf. I'm going to go for it. That's my next short story collection that I'm going to jump into after Alan Moore here. But Not Even Legend, the second story in Illuminations here, is very, very cool. I wish that it was longer. I wish there was more to it, but it is very, very good. It is trippy. It is a kind of supernatural thriller kind of thing, and it plays with time travel. Very, very good. Location is the third story in this, and it's set in the apocalypse. Like the apocalypse is happening, and I mean the Christian apocalypse. Like Revelation is happening on the face of the planet, and there's no human beings on the planet except for our narrator, and she's a real estate agent, and she is showing a property to Jesus, right? And it's absurd, and really where it goes, didn't seem very cool or seem very out, like it took a lot of thought to get there. It might have been like all these things are first things that pop into your mind. What can we have them do? What could we have, how do we play this in a way, and then just running with it, and very, very little substance to it actually. It might be different for a lot of other people, okay? I have a huge amount of spiritual background as far as texts, reading texts, and experiencing different spiritual modalities, and I will say with it saying, was it not realistic, right? Location is actually played very realistic as far as a literal sense of revelation happening on the face of the earth. But then again, what is done in the short story is, not in Revelation, and maybe a very, I would say, elementary level of, well, what would Jesus be like if Jesus was, he's a man, but he's also God, this kind of thing. Let me just say that it wasn't my thing, and it kind of struck me like, Michael Moorcock's Behold the Man. It was like that. Cold Reading is the next one, and then the titular story is Illuminations, right? Cold Reading and Illuminations both play as this kind of Twilight Zone episode, right? And it's cool, but it's very short, and the payoff is not great, you know? I didn't think. But it feels like a Twilight Zone episode. It's this kind of, there is a kind of reveal at the end, you know, you see what's happening, and it didn't really, you know, the payoff wasn't as much as I would like. Dahlgren is superb. Heck yeah. Rambling Raconteur Jack is in the house. Nice to see you, brother. Hope everything's going out there well in Arizona, and good reading and all that kind of thing. And then we have a story called The Improbably Complex High Energy State. This short story was really, really interesting because it is a thought experiment. So he takes the thought experiment of the Boltzmann brain. If you know this kind of thing, it's a theoretical physics thought experiment where what if, you know, a brain, a computing mechanism, biological computing, or atomic even, you know, it doesn't have to be cells and biology the way that we're talking, but some kind of feedback and processing mechanism, whatever it might be. We call it a brain, right? So a brain spontaneously, for lack of a better word, or for lack of more knowledge, spontaneously arises in the universe, in a reality. How would we know that the reality is what it is objectively, or what that brain, you know, perceives it to be through its sense, whatever sense mechanisms it has, right? So we have this kind of thing in moments after the Big Bang, right? There's not even matter yet. It's just energy. And there's different levels of energy, and they play. Yeah, that's a Boltzmann brain. That's right. That's right. So it takes that thought experiment, and we go into that. Our main character is one of these brains in the first moments of the Big Bang. It is beautifully written. I will say that the short story it is beautifully written if you like this kind of thing. Michael, Fit to Be Read, and, you know, Jack, you're going to love it. These kind of things, if you love sci-fi and exploring that kind of thing, you'll really like how it's described and things like that. I can't say that you'd like, you know, the ending or what it has to say as a whole, right? But I didn't really resonate with what he's talking about. And it's hard, you know, it's tough to say because Alan Moore I do resonate with a lot of things that Alan Moore is into as far as esotericism and things like this, but everybody has their own path, right? Everybody is very, very different. So I'll give you the first two paragraphs of The Improbably Complex High Energy State. It was the best of times. It was the first of times. In that initial femtosecond of it all, and if a femtosecond lasted for a second, then a second would last 30 million years or so. In that bolt upright quantum startle, with the whole idea of past still in the future, everything was perfect. Clattering out of blank nothing, there eventuated an exquisitely contrived arrangement of what might have been translucent lacquer tiles. Lacking a medium to carry sound, the clattering was purely visual. Without scale, the toppling tiles were unimaginably massive or infinitesimal. Impossible, of course, to speak of shape or color in the blank and empty run-up to those qualities, but the emergent form had something like the perfume of geometry. Within its spin, a premonition, more a taste, of clear cold pink in mixed state oscillation with the rich blue of a peacock's shoulder. By its very nature, it was beautiful beyond compare. This incomparability was also true for the duration of the subatomic instant in which these preliminary phenomena occurred. Still yet to reach the smallest measure of chronology, it felt like it went on forever. So you see where we're at, and he doesn't shy away from using all kinds of sense words, sights and sounds and feeling, all these kind of sense words to describe other things that are going on. It was really, really a fun one, even though I didn't really like the ending, right? So I will say, so far, the strongest that I've read from that I really enjoyed is the Hypothetical Lizard, but I can't wait to, just read the novella, because that obviously is the longest that he's worked on. And who knows, when it comes down to it, which ones are great, which ones I'll let you know. That's for sure. Nice. Yeah, heck yeah. Nice. The Tenants. Nice. So, also, I've been reading and finishing and getting through the Seven Madmen and the Flamethrowers. Hey, baby. Emily's in the house. Happy Friday. Nice to see you. Thanks for always supporting. The Seven Madmen is amazing. Very choppy chapters, but they bring you just ever so deeper into this world of completely insane people. And think about Quentin Tarantino. All right, this harkens to that kind of feeling where you're in a world of very, very violent people. Yes, although there's not a lot of strong violence in this book yet. There's talk of violence. There's this kind of thing, but most of it just really feels absurd because the people are so insane that I didn't buy it. I don't buy it, even still, that any of these characters are capable of anything that they're talking about. And they're completely lost, and our main character even more so than any others. Rick corrected me on Instagram on how to say his name. What a stickler that Rick, for pronunciations. But when I read, I just kind of read a name, and it's a name. so I pronounce it Erdosian. And Rick did correct me, in phonetic form through the words, but I still, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Hey, Paul, happy Friday. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. Heck yeah. And the Flamethrowers, the second book, or the second half of this book, picks up right where the Seven Madmen leaves off. In the same scene. It picks up in that same scene. So, I can't wait to see where they get to. I've heard that when it comes down to it, it hasn't been translated before now because of content. And I haven't come in contact with any content that is especially, bad or worthy of, blacklisting or something like this. But when it comes down to it, I don't give a lot of credence to that anyways. If people are saying, they're not letting people read Mouse, Art Spiegelman, right? And, Catcher in the Rye, or other books that are, supposedly, banned books. They're banned. To me, the people that ban books are people that don't read books, right? Because it doesn't make any sense to ban Catcher in the Rye or Mouse for that matter, and the number one movie in the country or the number one movie on Netflix is a complete horror show that, is psychologically degraded beyond what is in most any book. And, of course there's books that explore, messed up psychological states and, violent people, things like this. But think, all of Quentin Tarantino's movies are more hardcore, right, than Catcher in the Rye. It's just ridiculous. What's up, Conrob? Happy Friday. Nice to see you. How am I? I'm all right. It's been rough. If you guys don't know, my Jeep is still out of commission. I've been without my ride for maybe 2.5 weeks now, and it's just so tough with 3 kids on 1 car, and 2 of my daughters have their own jobs, and so it's just an unbelievable amount of running people around every single day. I just have to keep on doing it. And Emily does. She's out she's out doing it now. We're just constantly running, back and forth. Got to get a couple hours here, a couple hours there of some downtime until somebody else needs to be picked up and brought somewhere else, right? I will say a lot more about the Seven Madmen and the Flamethrowers. That will be something that I will do a dedicated video for. And I actually have had a great conversation this week with the translator of the Flamethrowers. His name is Larry Riley, and he was very cool. We got to know each other a little bit and ask some questions. There is a lot of kind of I guess I would say, well, I don't know. There's some confusion, okay, about this book. Let's say that, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but as I come to find out, it's kind of a free for all, right? So the translation has been done. We have it, and I definitely will do some content with him. If you guys are interested in hearing about translations and talking with a translator, I will put together some content like that. It was a good conversation. Happy Friday, Michael. Michael and Matched in the house. Nice to see you. Heck yeah. Thanks for coming by. Oh no. It gets better. Don't be bored. Well, there is some parts of Gravity's Rainbow that are meant to be unbelievably boring and trudging, right? It's it's a literary device, Michael. You never heard of the literary device of bore your reader out of their mind? Okay. It is mental torture. There is torture, it does what it does very effectively. I also read and finished. Yeah, Larry Riley is an awesome guy. Very cool, Nick. Heck yeah. I also finished Amon Ra by Victor Pelevin. This was a buddy read with my boy Dave over at the Chatting Lit podcast. I don't know if we're going to do some content on this one. I might do, some content. It seems like this book gets a lot of praise. And I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed my reading of it for sure. But Victor Pelevin didn't seem like just the masterful kind of writer that people were. maybe if I keep reading Alan Moore's works, he'll allow me to send him a picture of my bookshelves. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not the type to go for getting people, getting authors or publishing companies, publishing houses to support me or anything like this. I don't care. I do this because I love it, right? And to see this and to see this kind of thing, leveraging every little bit of what kind of influence you can have, right? It's retarded. But this book is it's a little shocking, and it does make you think. It makes you think a lot. I still think about this book and what it's really saying. Is am I going there, or did Victor Pelevin go there and wants to, is pushing that? I'm not going to say too much. I'm not going to, spoil it, except if I do a dedicated video for it. But this is about the Russian space program, which in the book seems non-existent. And the young boys who have the dreams of being cosmonauts that get involved in this program. It is very trippy, very hallucinogenic in ways, because our main character seems to be just completely at the will of his superiors, of course, right? But in ways that we don't really know about, where he's, could be being drugged, right? And he's definitely put through an initiatory situations, and he's pushed beyond what you would think is even necessary for what's going on, and you just kind of think, well, what is going on? What's really going on then? But at the end of it, it was just a lot of what turned me off from it was the amount of Deus Ex Machina that was associated with the ending and how things worked out, and it just seemed like a weaker kind of writer, because it was all kind of whisked to the ending, whisked to a satisfying conclusion. But the conclusion is not what it's all about, right? The conclusion is not what it was for. What's up, Conrob? Heck yeah, bud. Clayton's in the house. So now that Clayton's in the house, I'll let you guys know what happens when Clayton and I get together. Clayton doesn't live too far from Atlanta, and will come into Atlanta sometimes, and we go and hit used bookstores here in Atlanta. And we did it again. And when we did, he already had to hit a couple, and I just met up with him at the second one, but we quickly did a couple look around. Well, and at that second one, I saw a hardcover edition of Flannery O'Connor's short stories, which I never see a hardcover. I wanted it so bad. They wanted $20 for it, which is probably, more than reasonable, but I have it, right? And I have nice copies and readable, and I would basically be buying that for the shelf, which I'm fine with, right? Because I want all hardcover Flannery O'Connors, right? But I didn't go for it. We were just quick in and out. And then we went to one of my favorite bookstores of all time. This is a chain. The only chain bookstore that I really give a crap about, but by far the best, is Half Price Books. Half Price Books, you can find anything, and you find it I got to join this live one of these days. Been too long. Conrad, you can join a live, bruh. You can join a live. Tell me what you've been reading. You're reading Gravity's Rainbow. Maybe finish reading Gravity's Rainbow. Get into something else. I mean, you know, we can talk Pinch On, but I've talked Pinch On a lot on my channel, and definitely I need a reread of Gravity's Rainbow if I'm going to talk about Gravity's Rainbow. It's been way too long. But I've had on my shelf for a long time Lanark. Well, not too long. Maybe it's been a year and a half, right? Lanark, Alasdair Gray, and it's always looking at me. It's always, you know, saying, hey, why haven't you read me, right? I'm looking nice. I got this crisp spine. Look at this. It's never been read, okay? Wrap around visual. This is a beautiful edition. Is it? Yeah, Harcourt Brace. A great edition. And it just seems like a total trip. It's going to be fun. Hella fun. Alasdair Gray did murals and things like this, so he illustrated his own works. And I've had this on my shelf for a while. Definitely want to read it. But it, you know, didn't fit into my reading. When it comes down to it, it's a bigger book. And I just never went for it, really. So, I lucked up looking through the G's, right? When you're looking, I always look for some Gaddis. give me a hardcover edition of the Recognitions. You never know what you find at half price books, right? So I'll get a Dalkey Dalkey edition of Recognitions, or the Penguin JRs or something like that. I'll swipe them up in a second. So I always go for the G's, right? So I saw Alasdair Gray. We got the Fall of Kelvin Walker and McGrady and Ludmilla. So these are very short works, you see. And this comes, I think this is like his third and fourth works that he did. These are all very, very short novellas. So one day reads, you know, or weekend reads. So I couldn't help it. I never see Alasdair Gray. I picked up Lanark right when I first saw it at a used bookstore. It was the first time I had seen it, and I grabbed it. At least the first time I had seen it for anything reasonable, right? I'd probably seen a first edition or something like this for a lot of money. You got Lanark. Have you read it, Tyler? And then A Bended Circuity sitting on my shelf for too long. I need to read A Bended Circuity too. Man, I need to read A Bended Circuity. That book, it gets too much praise. And man, it just seems like a badass work. I got it on my shelf too. Let's maybe we're setting up some Lanark. Maybe we're setting up some Bended Circuity and Lanark buddy reads. You know, that's what it just feels like. I mean, you know, maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I'm feeling it. I was thinking that just by what you were saying. So does that work? Do I got it set up? Oh, well, you can see one. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we're setting that up. I couldn't wait. Bended Circuity is so good. Lanark's been on the TBR for years. Come on, Tyler, let's do it this year. 2023 is the year, baby. I hear it's really, really good. And then the two Alasdair Grays I found, and then I was on the hunt. I had remembered that our boy Chris Villa, the most popular, booktuber on our on our side here. What's up, Pavio? Happy Friday, bro. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope best of luck on the Stingent Society. They're doing a publication. If you aren't up on it, go check it out. It's Pavio and then Holly Rhiannon are, what a team up, right? Putting together some short story and poetry collections for the community. So I'm definitely looking out for it. The rest of Pinch on 2? Oh, no. I think he's going for it. Okay, so Chris Villa said that his most enjoyable read for 2022 was The Instructions by Adam Levin, right? And I had heard so much stuff about bubblegum, and it sounded just like a hilarious ride. Bubblegum did. So I was already aware of Levin. Didn't really, go for it. I'll hear some more. I'll hear more before I go for an author like that. Whatever. Haven't caught a live in a while. Have to make it back into my calendar for sure. All good, Pavio. We're hanging out. You come on by whenever you want. I just I keep it on the same time, same place, right? Just to make it easy for people to drop in when they can, and they know where to find me, right? So I did find the instructions, and look at this beast. Look, it's the biggest paperback I've ever seen. It's the biggest paperback in my house, which is saying a lot when you have, I probably have 1,000 paperbacks in this house. And some of them are multiple book bind-ups that aren't even this thick. Okay? I mean, okay. Check out Lanark. Check out Lanark next to the instructions. It's like, is it half? Is it half? It's very close to half. It's retarded. It's just ridiculously big. When you're holding it, look how much of it's like my whole palm, right? It takes your whole palm to get around this thing. It's unbelievable how fat this book is. Nice. Found a copy of the instructions today, but there was so much other stuff I wanted, so I didn't end up getting it. Clayton, I swear, you are so funny, dude. Clayton has a great taste in books. When we were out picking up, he got a biography of Berryman, John Berryman, that I really wish he didn't grab, because I would have grabbed it. It was in the clearance at half priced, okay? It was in the clearance, yo. Like, what happens? What are you doing? Yeah, my hand is getting tired holding this book up right now. I'm holding it up like this because the book is so thick. It's insanity. Okay, I'll give you the back for anybody who's not familiar with the instructions. Beginning with a chance encounter with the beautiful Eliza June Watermark, and ending 4 days and 900 pages later with the events of November 17th. This is the story of Gurion Maccabee, age 10, a lover, a fighter, a scholar, and a truly spectacular talker. Expelled from 2 Jewish day schools for acts of violence and messianic tendencies, Gurion ends up in the Cage, a special lockdown program for the most hopeless cases of aptastic junior high. Aptastic Junior High, that's the name of the school. Separated from his scholarly followers, Gurion becomes a leader of a very different sort, with righteous aims building to a revolution of troubling intensity. Okay? See, reading that, I would never go for this book, man. Just to give it to you straight, reading that, I would never go for it. He's a 10-year-old. Okay, if you have a 10-year-old and that's what's going, are we reading Ender's Game? Or is this a Genius? Are we set in the future and it's a sci-fi and we're dealing with like a very advanced 10-year-old? Like, why is, if it's a 10-year-old, then it's a 10-year-old, right? I don't want to read about a 10-year-old, and if the 10-year-old is acting like a 15 or a 20-year-old, then I'm not going to like it. I'm going to be like, well, why didn't you make them 20 then? Right? So I don't know. But the praise has won me over. I'm going to give it a chance. Look at this spine. Nobody's cracked the instructions. The time has come in your life when you need to read, just read the instructions, right? Nobody has cracked this book. Somebody has dragged it across the cover with something sharp, a pen or something. And it did get through just the tiniest bit right there. But no real big deal. Who cares? This book will survive maybe one reading, okay, with how it is. Okay, I mean, I can't see this thing being any more than just a complete bow right here by the time I'm done with it, right? So, I don't care. It's going to be a one read for me, and then if I love it, then I'll just get, hardcovers of Adam Levin for the shelf. But we'll see, right? Not only did I get the instructions, though, I got Adam Levin's first short story collection. It's called Hot Pink. So this was on the shelf right next to it. I grabbed them both. So I'll read Adam Levin's first stuff first. And then if I love it, I'll go ahead and if I love it, then I'll go ahead and go for bubblegum. But if not, then I'll just let it be. Okay? I mean, who cares? There's so much to read and so little time. He better have something worthwhile to say. What's up, Lee? Happy Friday. Nice to see you, brother. Lee is in the house. Nice. $10. There you go. See, I'll get a hardcover of it if I love it. I don't care. I'll find it used too, man. I mean, I'm a used book hunter, baby. From way back. That's how we do it. Also passed up some Borges. Clayton, you got a first edition of Berryman Sonnets. Very cool. Which Borges did you see? I'm looking for a hardcover, a Viking hardcover of the collected fictions. That's what I want, because I have a hardcover of the non-fictions and of the poetry. So I want that Viking, the blue, kind of King Penguin, the Viking press. I want the hardcover of the fictions there. I've seen them on eBay for, a little pricey. So I'm hoping to find one used, and I will at some point. But y'all keep an eye out. Good evening, SS. Happy Friday, bro. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. Been talking books, baby. If you see anything that you like, then you're gonna have to, rewatch it afterwards, because I'm not gonna repeat myself. But we can talk more about it too. So, Alan Moore, Alistair Gray, Roberto Arlt, Adam Levin, all on the table, baby. And then I have one more book to show that I have picked up recently, a recent acquisition. And there's more too. I mean, I even have more hauls that, books that I've hauled just at the thrift stores, things like that. And didn't pull over here because I have enough sitting here, right? Yeah, man, Borges is awesome. Hardcover Borges. I'd get anything. I thought they were new, but they were half off hardcover selected poems and non-fictions. Cool. I have the selected poems and the non-fictions, both the hardcovers there. They're very worth it, bro. The Borges poetry is so strong. He might be my favorite poet. I don't it's hard to say, Rilke is probably my favorite poet, but Borges is close. Borges is so good, and you get what you get from his fiction from his poetry as well. I would say you want to read his fiction and then read his poetry, so you have a real good idea of his themes and knowing what he's pointing at in different ways. Because, of course, the poetry is more succinct, right? So I haven't read this next author, but my boy Idjit, an Idjit on YouTube, his name is Quentin, Idjit Reads and Rambles. He has turned me on and told me how good Kawabata is, and I have Thousand Cranes. That'll be the first one that I read, but I found this one in a thrift store, so I grabbed it. This is The Sound of the Mountain. Looks great. I hear you cannot go wrong with Kawabata. Recently picked back up Borges. Can't go wrong there. You're right, Pavio. You really can't go wrong with Borges. I read Borges poetry quite a bit. I've been going through over the last month or month and a half, maybe more, maybe 2 months now, going over fictions again and some of the Aleph as well. I love Borges. The Sound of the Mountain is one of Kawabata's most important works. Its quality is luminous and intense. Its concern is with the anxieties and desires of an old man, Shingo, who hears the sound of the mountain, the faint rumble in the hills that is a muffled hint of unknown occurrences and foreboding of death. And his emotions, the affection, perhaps even sexual desire he feels for his daughter-in-law, the increasing tensions of his relations with his wife, son, and daughter are also muffled, indistinct, subtle, yet disturbingly powerful. The events of the novel are real and immediate, and throughout they are touched and unified by an almost dreamlike symbolism. The resulting wail is a remarkable the resulting whole is a remarkable expression of the unique talents of this great writer, a winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1968. So, that sounds right up my alley. Like, see, now that description is something that I would go for right then, especially the whole idea of the events in the novel are real and immediate, yet throughout they are touched and unified by an almost dreamlike symbolism. I love that stuff. I love it. Love. So I will be here for that. Gonna go for Kawabata soon. I'll probably read Thousand Cranes first because it is shorter. I mean, it's like a novella. And it is actually sitting beside my bed. Across from me right now. I can see it. So, have that one just right there. Maybe look for a complete works in hardcover used. A complete works in hardcore. Yeah, I'll take that. Still need to read a lot of the Borges I have, so I thought I'd wait. Cool, Clayton. Dude, do it. Go for it, buddy. It's never a bad time for Borges, let me tell you. So I did see, first off, I want to shout out Brooklyn Attic Books. That's Bridget. I know Brooklyn Attic Books from Instagram. Been an Instagram bookseller for a long time, but she does have a YouTube channel now. So I'm going to go ahead and put it, let me see if I can put it in the chat. You guys go follow this channel, if you will. Because she's just getting started and she's a badass, right? She's a badass reader and she's also a bookseller, right? Has everything. So you'll find things that you like there. And I also saw Matthew over at Mayberry Book Club had read At Swim Two Birds. This is a reread for him, right? I cannot wait to read this book. I listened to him talk about it a little bit and then just cut it because I didn't want any more spoilers, right? But it sounds hilarious. I haven't read any Flann O'Brien. I picked up this and The Third Policeman from another bookstagram that I follow, another book account on Instagram that I follow, and really happy with it. This looks completely unread, right? I love getting a book used for really, really cheap, and it's completely like a brand new book. Like, what are you people doing? Okay. Along with one or two books by James Joyce, Flann O'Brien's at Swim Two Birds is the most famous and infamous of Irish novels published in the 20th century. The story of an Irish college student who have to amuse himself and have to avoid work writes an irreverent novel about the figures of Irish myth and legend in which characters come to life and riot against their author. At Swim is a wildly comic send-up of Irish literature and culture. So, I can't wait. It sounds hilarious. I've had it sitting for too long. What's up, Kenny? Happy Friday. You know what? And that's what I said. Thank you for saying that. I do have a video on the hypothetical lizard. I did one just on that, standalone. I think that might be my favorite from the collection so far, and I haven't read the whole collection. I'm on the novella that is in it. That is What We Can Know About Thunderman. But I've read everything up until that point, and Hypothetical Lizard is the one that I liked the most. I really enjoyed it the most, and I think that it's the most well done of the short stories. So, heck yeah. Here for Hypothetical Lizard, baby. Jack at Rambling Raconteur just read some Danilo Kiss. This one, Hourglass, is sitting on my shelf for too long, so I grabbed this one down because I was like, it's time. Danilo Kiss was one of the most artful and eloquent writers of post-war Europe. Of all his books, Hourglass is the account of the final months in one man's life before he is sent to a concentration camp. Is generally considered to be his masterpiece. So I can't wait. Danilo Kiss wrote Encyclopedia of the Dead, right? And I didn't jump into the video that Jack had done because I didn't know the story. I didn't know the book, and I didn't want any spoilers, right? But Danilo Kiss is going on the top of the TBR. Need to do it. Very cool, Kenny. Yeah, the comic is really, really well done, even if it's black and white, right? And I found it used in a comic book shop. I found it, I got Hypothetical. Here, I got it right here. Got this one for, like $2. And like $2 off the clearance in a comic book shop. And this is really, really well done because there's actually the short story is printed in the back as well. So you get the prose and you get the visual. It's really, really good. So follow mine and follow Kenny's advice here and read the Hypothetical Lizard. You could probably read it online. What's up, Quentin? Happy Friday, bro. I already shouted you out. Tonight for when I showed the Kawabata. I showed the Sound of the Mountain that I got. So, and because I put it on the TBR coming up. Just got back from Toronto. What's up? Nice, brother. Man, just hanging out. I'm about to wrap it up. It's the end of the night here. I already crushed an hour. Or coming up on an hour with these guys and girls. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Happy Friday, all that. Wish me luck. I think that I'm getting my Jeep back tomorrow, which not only means that that it'll be a lot easier this week with the logistics of moving these girls from place to place, but I'll have my freaking sound system back. Man, I miss my stereo. If you guys don't know, man, I got two 12s in the back of my Jeep Grand Cherokee, and the whole system is redone and upgraded. So I have. All right, I'm doing another hour for Quentin. I mean, Lord knows I got enough books to talk about, bro. I can do another hour. I just don't want to do another hour. It is Friday night. The girls might not want me to do another hour, that's for sure. But I have been missing my music. You know, it's like my thing, because I spend every drive in that with wonderful, you know, just loud and clear, crisp, beautiful, you know, sound system. And now it's been, you know, 2.5 or 3 weeks that I haven't had it, and I'm really missing it. Really, really, really missing it. Keep an eye out for The Phone Booth at the Edge of the World by Laura Messina. Nice. I'd do it. The Phone Booth at the Edge of the World. Cool. I'd love it. I'd like to check it out. Let me tell you. I like taking people's recommendations, you know. When it comes down to it, if you're part of our community, you know, here, and we don't throw out recommendations just willy-nilly, right? If you're going to say, oh man, you should read this book, then you really should read it, right? Because we know what we're talking about. What kind of music do I listen to? Kenny, I listen to everything, okay? I listen to really everything. I worked at a music store for years back in my high school and college days, and I got turned on to everything, and I probably have over 500 CDs at my house of just stuff that I love. And, you know, I listen to everything. My favorite stuff is like progressive metal, progressive rock. Grew up on Pink Floyd, Rush, you know. That was what my dad loved. Things like that. And I loved it too. And I love it still. And now, you know, I listen to everything, bro. I have like every Radiohead, Tool, but I have every CD that I could ever want, is what it comes down to. Especially now. The chat wants to know the best Aesop Rock album. Best Aesop Rock is Spirit World Field Guide, for sure. I love Spirit World Field Guide, but I also I'm Impossible Kid is almost constant rotation, right? I always am listening to Spirit World Field Guide, and a close second is Impossible Kid. But I've listened to Impossible Kid for years before Spirit World Field Guide came out, right? I love it. But I still rock Skeleton all the time. I rock it all the time. And None Shall Pass. I rock it all the time. But there is Malibu Ken. Malibu Ken is so short, man. It's hard to compete. Malibu Ken, it's hard to compete with Aesop's bigger albums because Malibu Ken is so short, but it is freaking fantastic. And it stays in a rotation in my Jeep as well. Yeah, man. Love's Labor Lost. Man, novels and crumbs. Nathan turned me on to a really cool sci-fi kind of book. Yeah, Labor Days, baby. Dude, Impossible Kid is spectacular. I mean, that's really where I fell in love with Aesop. And really just like completely was like, oh, anything, just bring me anything. But if y'all haven't heard Malibu Ken, that's the kind of thing that is brand new. Like, it's always fresh because there's nothing else like it. Synth rap, synth hip, like synth hop, right? Cool. Nice to see you guys. Thank you for chilling with me another hour. I'm going to call it. Very cool. Thank you for stopping by, and leave any kind of suggestions. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're getting into. This is for people that watch the stream, later on tomorrow when it's a video. Feel free to leave comments. That's the only way I can interact with you guys. So, thank you very much, y'all. You've never heard of Aesop? Oh my God. Now we've turned it into a wonderful night. Now you can go listen to some badass music. Haha. You're going to love it. All right. Maybe it was more of a fantasy, Nathan. Nice to see you again too, Pavio. For sure. Night, everyone.